Okay, let's look at our last few examples here. Now we're going to look at solving a polynomial equation. Right? So we talked about how factoring and solving by factoring are two different things, and one thing we have to incorporate when we're solving is this zero product property. Okay, and so again, I'm trying to remind you guys that there is a difference here between solving and solving by factoring, and that this is the big difference. Okay, so let's take a look. All right, so 8x cubed minus 18x equals 0. All right, well, the first thing I actually see here is 8 and 18. Right, so maybe I'll go ahead and underline these in green, okay, and I'll look at the factors of each of these numbers, right? So if we take 8 and 18, right, all the ways I can get to 8 are 1 times 8, 2 times 4. Okay, 18 would be 1 times 18. Well, I skipped one there, sorry about that. 2 times 9. 2 times 9 and 3 times 6, and I think that's it. Okay, so it looks like the largest factor that we actually have in common here is just going to be 2. Okay, and so I'm going to now look at the x's, right? So this term has 3 x's and this term only has 1 x. Okay, and so I know that they only have this 1 x in common. Okay, so we're actually going to take out, in this particular case, we're going to take out 2x. Okay, and now at this point I'm going to figure out, well, what's actually left over here. So I'm going to divide each of these terms by my greatest common factor of 2x. Okay, and I know that 8 divided by 2 is 4, and I know that x cubed divided by x is x squared. Okay, I know that negative 18 over 2 is going to be a negative 9, and that x over x is just 0. Okay, so I'll go ahead and put that in parentheses here, and I'll make sure I set this equal to 0. Okay, I'm not quite ready to go to this zero product property yet here. Okay, I'm close. We should notice that what we have in red here is also another one of our special factoring patterns. Okay, remember that 4 is a perfect square, 9 is also a perfect square. This is the difference of two squares. Okay, where remember, if we have a squared minus b squared, it factors down to a plus b times a minus b. Okay, and so this is the case now where we're going to have that 2x multiplied by, this will be 2x plus 3 times 2x minus 3. Okay, and that's equal to 0. Now in this case we have 3 separate things that we have to set equal to 0 when we solve. Okay, I have to set 2x equal to 0, so I'll set 2x equal to 0. I also have to set 2x plus 3 equal to 0 and solve. And finally I have to set 2x minus 3 equal to 0 and solve. Okay, and so when I set 2x equal to 0, I'll divide both sides by 2 here, and I'll get x equals 0. That's one of our solutions to this equation. Okay, on the next one, 2x plus 3 equals 0, I'll start by subtracting 3 to each side to get 2x equals negative 3, and then I'll divide by 2 to get x equals negative 3 halves. That's our second solution. Okay, and then finally, I have 2x minus 3 equals 0. I'll add 3 to each side to get 2x equals 3. And I'll divide by 2 to get x equals 3 halves. Okay, so here's one thing I want to point out. Okay, this problem has a degree of 3, and there was 3 solutions. Okay, really important to understand that if a problem has a degree of 3, there will be that many solutions to our problem. Okay, let's look at one more here. This time I have 16x cubed minus 100x equals 0. Okay. I'm going to guess that I can take a 4 out of this particular problem. Okay, I will maybe here, let's do this. I'll take out a 4. I know that each of the numbers are divisible by 4. Okay, and we'll just kind of see what I get left over here. And I know that they have 1 x in common here because this term has 3 x's and this term has 1. So we just have that 1 in common. Okay, so I'm going to take out this x and I'll see what we have left over here. Okay, so to figure out what I have left over, I'll divide each of these terms by our greatest common factor of 4x. Okay, I know that 16 divided by 4 is going to give me a 4, and x cubed over x will give me x squared. Okay, I also know that negative 100 over 4 is going to give me negative 25, and x over x will just divide to 1. And I'll set this equal to 0. Okay, again, I see this pattern, this difference of two squares pattern, because 4 is a perfect square, 25 is also a perfect square. remember if we have a squared minus b squared, this factors down to a plus b times a minus b. Okay, and so at this point, I'm going to write this as 4x multiplied by 2x plus 5 times 2x minus 5. And now I'm going to set each of these little parts equal to 0 and solve each equation. So 4x equals 0, and I'll go ahead and solve that. Okay, I'll have 2x plus 5 equals 0. I'll go ahead and solve that as well. And then finally, my last one, I'll have 2x minus 5 equals 0, and I'll solve that. Okay, so first I'll divide each side by 4 here to get x equals 0. Again, that is one of our 3 solutions. Our next one, I'll subtract 5 from each side to get 2x equals negative 5, and then I'll divide by 2 to get x equals negative 5 halves. And the very last one here, I'll first add 5 to each side to get 2x equals 5, and then divide by 2 to get x equals 5 halves. Okay, so those are our 3 answers for this particular problem. Okay, so again, I hope you guys now feel confident to go ahead and try some of these problems on your homework. Again, we need just a lot of practice here so we can be successful at this.